In every age, the Church has been blessed with souls of heroic virtue, bishops, scholars, popes, consuls, and faithful laymen, who stood boldly for truth. Today, we reflect on 5 such champions of the faith: Saint Paulinus of Nola, Saint John Fisher, Saint Flavius Clemens, Blessed Innocent V, and Saint Thomas More. Saint Paulinus of Nola, c. 354–431, born into a noble Roman family in Bordeaux, Paulinus rose quickly in public life. He was well educated, a senator, and even became governor of Campania. But after a series of personal tragedies, including the death of his only child, Paulinus gave up his wealth and power, choosing instead a life of holiness, together with his wife Theresa. He embraced Christian asceticism and settled in Nola, near the tomb of Saint Felix. There, he lived as a monk, wrote beautiful hymns and poems, and offered hospitality to pilgrims. Eventually, Paulinus was ordained Bishop of Nola. He was renowned for his humility, scholarship, and charity. His letters to Saint Augustine and Saint Jerome reveal a man of deep faith and intellectual vigor. Saint Paulinus died around the year 431. His feast is celebrated on June 22, and he remains a shining example of how a life of privilege can be transformed into a life of service to God. Saint John Fisher, 1469–1535, Saint John Fisher was the Bishop of Rochester and one of England's most learned theologians. A close friend of Erasmus, he served as Chancellor of Cambridge University and was admired for his piety and intellect, but his greatest legacy came when he stood alone among England's bishops in refusing to accept King Henry VIII's divorce from Queen Catherine of Aragon and the Act of Supremacy, which declared the king head of the Church in England. Arrested and imprisoned in the Tower of London, Fisher was eventually executed on June 22, 1535. Just weeks before his death, Pope Paul III named him a cardinal, though the red hat never reached England. He died a martyr, declaring, "I die for the faith of Christ's Catholic Church." His feast is celebrated with that of his friend and fellow martyr,